Hey, what's up guys? Dean Hansen here. Today we're going to talk about the Tesla Chademo charger. This charger is kind of a big deal, and it just began to have support for the Tesla Model 3 in July, I believe, of 2019, so just a couple of months ago. As you can see here on eBay, it's kind of an expensive adapter, right? Why would somebody spend $600, $500 on a simple adapter? Especially when, if you look at Tesla's website, they're only $450. The reason they're going for so much more on eBay is because they're almost always sold out. Now, if you have the patience to continue checking the Tesla website over and over and over, you can eventually get one. I just checked the website every day, a couple times a day until it became available, and I bought it through Tesla, and it shipped within a couple days. So $450 is still a really expensive adapter, right? So why is anybody going to spend that much money on a simple adapter? Well, what it does is it opens up your Tesla fast charging to a much larger network. So if we look at the PlugShare app, this is my current fast charging availability. I pretty much have two superchargers that are, within about 50 miles of my house. However, if you select the Chademo, you get significantly more fast chargers. Now, these Chademo chargers are limited to 50 kilowatts. And like I said, they just became available on the Model 3. They are limited to 50 kilowatts. However, that's still significantly faster than level 2 charging, which is limited to about 7 kilowatts. So it's still DC fast charging, and it really just gives you a lot more freedom to travel. Now, this is very location dependent. Some places don't have a lot of DC fast chargers, and buying this adapter might not make any sense. If you live in an area like I do, it really gives you an extra amount of freedom. If I were to head out onto the Wasatch back, for instance, now I have charging stations out here on these highways, these back road highways, whereas beforehand, I didn't have that. Currently, before I got the adapter, I had to make sure I had enough power to get out where I wanted to go and get back, essentially, unless I happened to be going in the direction of one of these chargers. If I was heading down south, I had to have enough to get out and back, and now I don't have to worry about that. So now we talked about how much it cost. We talked about why somebody might want it. One quick thing before I get into testing the charger, which I went out and did a bunch of tests, I do want to talk about how I kind of hate the design. This is heavy, right? There's a lot of weight here, and when you connect the Chademo connector, it's even more heavy, and I wasn't able to get this type of angle here that, they've got it angled up, kind of pushing the weight up, so there might not be so much tension here, but in reality, it doesn't really hook up that way, and all that tension is right on this tiny little connection point. It can't be good for your connector in your car. It can't be good for the adapter. It's not something I think you'd want to do long term. If your primary goal is to only charge this way, try to rig something up that hooks onto here and holds it out a little bit, keeping the tension off of right here. Try to put all the tension down here, if that makes sense. So one thing I wanted to know in testing is, the Model 3 can handle up to like 200, 250 kilowatts. However, the adapter is limited to 50. What I was wondering is, with the adapter in, how many kilowatts would it limit me as the battery started getting more full? I'd hope to plug in with a low battery and see really close to 50 kilowatts at a 50 kilowatt charger. And what I was wondering is, when I get to like 70, 80%, is it going to chop me way down? I know the Chevy Bolt has a 50 kilowatt max capacity, and right after 55% of battery charge, it drops that down quite a bit, and it just gets lower and lower the closer you get to 100%. And the Tesla works the same way, but it's not specifically at this 55%, and it's also not limited to 50 kilowatts, right? You can charge a lot more on a Tesla. So I was wondering, I really wanted to know how much it slowed down and at what battery percentage it slowed down at. So we went out and started charging at a local charge point charger and hooked up at 40%, and this is what we found. So here we are hooked up at the charge point adapter here with the adapter, and you can kind of see that angle's pretty aggressive, all that tension being right here. And yeah, let's jump in the car and see what kind of charge we're getting. All right, you can see that we start charging at about 1:33 p.m. and we're sitting at 41%, and we're getting about 43 kilowatts of charge, which is about 195 miles per hour worth of charge. All right, here, so we're about 3 minutes into the charge. We're already up to 45%, and we're getting 44 kilowatts of charge, and still says that we got about 30 minutes remaining to get to this 85% limit that I have my limiter set at about 85%. So all right, here we are at 54%. We're still getting 54 kilowatts, and we're about 9 minutes into the charge at this point, and now we've hit 55%. Now that's where the Chevy Bolt drops off, at 55%. And it looks like we're still holding that 54 kilowatt charge at 55%. So that's a good sign. That means that this car with the Chademo adapter should charge faster than a standard vehicle with a 50 kilowatt limit on the vehicle itself. Let's keep charging up and see where we end up. Okay, 62% here, and we're still charging at 43 kilowatts. Been hooked up for about 15 minutes now, roughly, and we've gained, 23% battery, 63%, 43 kilowatts. We've pretty much been between 42 and 44 kilowatts the entire time so far. All right, we're just about hitting 70% now, which would be 30%. We started at 40, and we've been hooked up for 20 minutes. So it takes about 20 minutes to get 30% of charge. We're still pulling 42 kilowatts. Yeah, 30% charge in 20 minutes. I would say 30% is, I don't know. Okay, Google, 30% of 240.
The answer is 72.
So that's about 72 miles roughly of charge at this particular charger in 20 minutes. Okay, here we are. We're still pulling 42 to 43 kilowatts, and we're almost to 75%. So we haven't really seen any kilowatt drop off yet, all the way up into the 75% range. We're actually pulling 43 kilowatts. Okay, this is the first time we've dropped below 40 kilowatts, and it was at about 77%. So that's where we actually really see some difference. It's starting to finally calm down our charge rate. All right, here we're at 82%. And we're down into the 31 kilowatt range. So we're at about 10 kilowatts less than we were getting before at 82%. So we're really starting to see some drop off here. Okay, now we're at 84%. We're into the 27 kilowatts. And I've moved my limit all the way to 100% to ensure that's not limiting me. Didn't seem to have any effect on the charge rate. And I think we'll charge up to about 90% and see how it looks at 90. So here we are at 90%. We've been hooked up for 40 minutes. Took us 40 minutes to get from 40 to 90%. If we were from 0 to 50, of course, it'd be a lot faster. But from 40 to 90, took us about 40 minutes of charge, which would be about 120 miles of range, roughly. And at 90%, we're down into the teens now at 19 kilowatts. So again, I really don't love that connection type there. There's a lot of pressure on that connector right now. I'm not loving it, not sure what to do to help that, but we're going to go ahead and disconnect from the charge point and take her on home. You can't read that, so looked like 43 minutes we were hooked up. Battery 90%. All right, so final thoughts. It's just going to be up to you in your area whether you think a charger like this is worth the price. I threw money at it immediately. I recognized the significant value of going from this many charging possibilities to this many charging possibilities. And these are fast chargers. These are not level 2. These are all 25K or better DC fast chargers. I think it gives you a lot more ability to travel, and mostly it's going to give you a lot less range anxiety. Maybe when you get to your destination, you're probably most likely going to use Tesla superchargers to get there. But now once you're there, you don't only have this one charger you have to go back to charge. You actually have all these other chargers in the city, because that's where most of these chargers are in the cities. Now you have a lot more options. I'll keep you posted if I notice anything else new about the chargers. I'm really hoping that Tesla opens up the CCS charger to the American market. So if we take a look at the CCS adapter, it obviously looks a lot better design than what we have here. So I'm really hoping that they can get this thing available to the public here in the United States. All right, thanks for watching, guys.